What's that? I said, you're not getting away from me that quick. I have to do what I'm told, so I'll do it. And it's a pleasure, if it's okay with you. Okay. Okay. So right in the middle of worship, I saw this. You don't think you're much of a pastor. A pastor. Whatever that is. Yeah. This tonight is for you. A lot of it. You've set blockades in your mind. Things that have been built in your own mind, for whatever reason, doesn't matter. That you weren't good enough. Maybe not as good as your brother. Maybe not this, not that, not as good as. But somebody else thinks you're pretty special. Can you unpack that? Can you receive that? Okay. You may have come on this a little later than he wanted you to. But let me tell you, the latter is the better. Okay, the latter. It's the wine at the end of the wedding, those of us. So he's literally preserved you and held you. You've gotten deeper through all this stuff that you've been living and grounded you. You're not blown left and right. You have a fixed point of reference. That's why I got sent where I did. You're strong with a fixed point of reference. And without that, we all drift. And it's your job as a pastor to help guide and keep them straight on the path and not let them drift left or right, blown left and right from the doctrine. That's why you brought it all back to the basics. That was him telling you that. Exactly and followed up right where he had started into. So you just pass the torch and literally just plowed on. Okay? So I want you, as we go through this tonight, to allow God to unlock those mindsets, those things that need renewing. Because all I've been getting lately, you sit down now, but I just want to pass that over you. I'm afraid real quick. Father, as he sits here tonight, I ask you to rewrite his mind and illuminate the places that have never been opened. The secret places where you want to build yourself up in him. In Jesus' name. And yes, you have discernment. Don't you ever say you don't again, or I'll spank you. Because he does. That's what it's like being around me. You never know what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. Am I right? Okay, so you can look all these up later. I feel like I've got to get where I need to go. But where I've been the last 2-3 months is renewing of the mind. I'm surprised everybody haven't got up and left, because nobody likes to talk about this. They're all thinking, oh, I've got some hidden whatever back. No, that's not what this, it could be, but it's not really what it is. It's actually having walls built up, and it won't allow you to think, to read this differently than you've ever read it before. To realize you're grafted. See, that fit right on. The whole Israeli thing that's going on right now fits because we're grafted onto that. There are people who never get that. Never get that. That there are brothers and sisters. They just don't know Christ yet, but they know Yahweh. And their day will come. And this is another one you used to hear all the time. Boy, I wish I was around in Bible days. I don't know how many times I didn't hear that. And the Lord said, how are you enjoying it? I said, what? He said, remember that saying all the time? He said, yeah, I did. He said, well, you're living it. You're in it. You're seeing it. You're seeing how the wars were going on for thousands of years. You're seeing one come in and try to wipe the other one out. You're seeing the response. It's in modern warfare, but is it? What's it driven by? Who's driving it? Who's driving it? It's not politics. Well, you could say that because it's demonic. Okay. But it's literally the devil trying to wipe God's people off the earth. However, he knows his time is short. He knows the word better than most Christians do. The enemy does. Did you know that? That's kind of scary, isn't it? So as all these things unfold over there, you're going to see more and more. And what is happening right now, right down the middle? This country's sitting on the edge of a civil war. It's divided like it's never been divided before. Invasion happened, and you've got people who have no concept of what they're saying, siding with the enemy. That the founders of this nation would roll over and probably are stirring dirt in their own graves because of it. How could you ever get that way? What it is, and here it is. This is for you. This is what I just told Jeff, was a fixed point of reference. You've got to have a fixed point of reference in Jesus Christ. If you don't have that, you're going to go way over here. You're going to go way over there. Okay? It's like take a string and use it. I just love this. My grandpa was the smartest man I ever knew. Seeing you tonight, sir, reminded me of him because he wore the same glasses. He walked around in overalls all the time. Highest grade he ever completed was 8th grade. But this guy was wise. And I mean to tell you, wise. And it was a blast. Because he'd get around really educated people and just blow them away. And it was incredible. If he'd see something, he'd make it. How do you do that? I was out in the shed with him one time, and he was making something. He said, you know how to find center on something, don't you? I said, well, you take I was in school. He said, no, not like that. Took a string, a pencil, went across the board like that, went across the board like that. There, that's center. Now get your protractor and all that out. Yep, that's center, all right. He goes, a lot faster too, isn't it? And that's how they raised barns so quick and built houses so fast. He was building a doghouse. He didn't care. He just saw somebody's doghouse and, hey, that's pretty good. And this guy wanted it, so he built it. And he was smart enough to measure the door so it went out without the roof on and then put the roof on later. But that's what wisdom is. Okay, it confounds the wise. And see what's going on right now. There's not much wisdom. So see, they don't have a fixed point of reference. How do you get that? Well, if any man asks for wisdom, it will be granted. I had a friend. I haven't heard from him in a long time. He used to read a proverb a day, and he'd drive you crazy because he'd call you and tell you what it was. Oh, it used to irritate me. Because every time he did that, I lived it out right after he said it. I was like, what is this? I mean, it was just... So I turned around and started doing it to him. He didn't like it either. But that's the kind of relationship we had. It was kind of funny. I hadn't heard from him for a long time. And we started texting back and forth. And it was kind of funny. He just kind of said, what do you think about what's going on? And I said, well, I'm not going to say anything yet. He goes, well, remember 30 years ago, or 25 years ago, when everybody said, well, Jesus is coming soon? And everybody's just kind of like, okay, he didn't come, so let's all just go to sleep. You better wake up. And I said, yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking. So you see, the time of this is incredible. So these walls that you've built, here we go again, these mindsets of what does unity look like? What's it going to take to have unity? What's it going to take to get the real body of Christ together? What's it going to take? God help us if it takes that to do it. But I'm telling you, that is exactly what might happen. I had a dream. I saw part of it. I don't want to see any more of it. But it was enough that I got up and stayed up the rest of the night going, oh, God, help us. And he said, what's weird about this? He even said that. There are going to be people who just faint over dead when it happens. Fall, just hearts failing, boom, that's it. But the people who are grounded in me are going to look like they're crazy. Because they're not going to be preppers. They aren't digging holes. Those people are the ones that are going to go crazy and drop over, I'm telling you. They're going to be the first people that get wiped out. People are going to raid them. It's going to be, he's like, who do you depend on, yourself? Or are you going to depend on me? Who do you trust? Trust me? Or do you trust yourself? Forget it. I'm out of it. You know, and somebody asked me one time after I moved out here, he said, what are you going to do if Yellowstone ever blows up? I laughed. This is what I said. This was great. And I just could stood there for a little bit. Let's see. What would I do? Well, let's see. I think Elaine and I would go out in the farthest part of the backyard with the dog. I survived a couple glasses of iced tea, flop open the Bible, and start reading and waiting. Well, that's kind of stupid, isn't it? I said, well, you know, when the flash goes, you only got 20 minutes. What else are you going to do? Just sit there and visit about the Lord? Well, why would you do something stupid like that? I said, well, I know where I'm going. Do you know where you're going? Now, see, that's the line you use right there. I talked to a young lady tonight after you left. I told her to stop by. Her name was Jade. I said, before I get out of here, you need to see me. So in the lobby, as usual, I did my thing. And I always have to preface it like, look, this is not weird. I'm not hitting. I got to go through all this stuff now. You know, this is what this is. I said, you walked by, I saw a light on you. I know God has his eye on you. That's what he's doing. Everywhere you went, I saw you go. I said, I wasn't even paying attention, and I knew you were back there because I could see the light behind my eye, just all around. Well, what is that all about? I said, well, he's got something for you. It's just will you listen? He's been telling you, wake up. Wake up. Her name was Jade. I said, you do realize God's throne is Jade? Really? I said, look it up. And I left it right there, left it hanging. Because I knew all I was supposed to do was get her curious. Not throw anything about destiny, not throw anything out. I said, Google it. For God's sakes, it's there. Okay. She said, I will. I'm going to. And she got out her phone, Googled it, saved it, back to work. Well, brother, you didn't stick around for the harvest. No, it doesn't matter. Somebody else will come along, maybe do that. I just threw out a little seed. That's all I did. See, that may be all you have to do. But one of you might run across Jade, and she's like going, good gracious, I don't know what I'm going to do. What are you going to do? Are you going to let her go by? And when she walks up to you and you feel the Holy Spirit saying, oh, I need to ask you, what's your name? She says, Jade. Now you know. So see, it works that way. Everybody knows somebody that's hurting. Everybody knows somebody that's confused. Everybody knows somebody that just needs help. And now, to prove all this is weirder than you think it is, so this morning, I'm supposed to have breakfast with a friend of mine. We used to work together at the hospital. He was a director, I was a manager. And then I backed out of that and went back up to the second floor because I missed work in the ER. That's where all the action was. That's where I did my thing, as they called it. They didn't call me a minister. They just called it, let Jeff come back here and do what he does. Let him do his thing. I'm like, okay, I don't care what you call it. But so that's what I did. And he said, well, I really need to spend some time with you. Well, I know that's his code word for all of you know what's breaking loose and I need help. So I was there. I sat there and waited. Checks him, nothing happened. Waited. About a half, 45 minutes goes by. I'm like, all right, he's not coming. I was just about ready to leave. I get another text. I can't make it. It's been a mess this morning. The stuff I was trying to tell you about, that's exactly what's happening now. I can't make it. I said, okay, no problem. Don't worry about it. We'll catch up. That's fine. I thought about, well, it's time to go. So I started to get up. Next thing I know, I feel a hand on my shoulder. Have you got a few minutes? Yeah. That turned into 20 minutes. Okay, that one was done. All the napkins on the table were gone. And I'm thinking, oh, Lord, that was a mess. She got what she needed. That was it. I sat there for a little bit longer, kind of letting that go away before I got up to leave. And here comes another one. And boom, here we go again. 15 minutes on that one. Now I started like, do I need to put a sign up? Counseling, deliverance, ministry? No, I was available. She leaves. And then the next one. There were 3. The last one was the worst one. It was the heaviest and the hardest for me because I knew this person and I knew what was going on and I knew a lot of the backstory and I knew what started it and I knew all of it. What do I do? 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 And all I could say was, Samantha, I told you before, there's only one thing going to stop this. And his name is Jesus Christ. And until you invite him in, this is the mess you're going to have. And to see her get up and walk off was about the most painful thing I'd ever seen. Because it's hell to know that they're that close to heaven. That close. That close. That's the 3rd time. And I'm thinking, how many chances do you get? How many chances has she had? How many times was she in my office when she worked for me? I said, I don't know how many times I told her, that's what you need to do. Just threw it out there. I didn't do it like I do now. You just need help there. That you get that straightened out, everything will be better. So 3 times officially, I threw it out. It's terrible. It hurts, especially for me, because I've seen the other side. I know what's up there. I know what some of it looks like, and I know who's there very well. So I want to get to this fixed point of reference. Because when you've got that, if you could imagine a string or a wire strung out, and it's connected here, and you're going over here, and you go over there, you're still connected. See how that works? I mean, I can come up here, I'm connected. My wife knows when I come up here, I'm not going to do it. She knows what I'm doing. It's like, I know where he is. I know what he's doing. It's the same thing with the Lord. He goes, I'm sending him over here. Good. Because he's tied down. He's tied to this. He is this. This is who he depends on. This is who I'm connected with. There's a bloodline. Runs right down that line. So wherever I go, whatever I do, I'm connected. But then there's this disconnect that can happen. And you'll drift that way. Off into false doctrine land over that way, or you go false doctrine this way. And Next thing you know, you're playing with rocks and shining those things up and wearing them and doing all kinds of creepy stuff and, telling everybody you've been talking to aliens. I'm telling you, you haven't heard anything like I've heard. And go, stand in a church and hear that. Walk into a church. I was telling Jeff one tonight. We were doing ministry back in the day when that guy and I were traveling, walked into that place. There was a Sunday school teacher. I felt so weird and just like, don't make me look at that. She gets up. I'm going to do this. Kids, you ever see this? Your Sunday school teacher, or you got kids that the Sunday school teacher does this, any of your parents see a Sunday school teacher do this, get up and run with your children and get out of there. This gal gets up. Okay, kids, we're all going back and we're going to have magic today. And I went, I thought I was only 20. Well, I might have been 32, I guess. I thought I was going to die. It hit me right there. And I thought, oh, that you don't do that, And then it's like she pulls something out of her pocket, piece of paper. We're going to have holy fire back in the, and it's a piece of magic paper. You rub it and it catches fire and it goes, burns up. And I went, and they were all like, yay. And I'm like, I said, Mark, don't you ever bring me back here again. He said, well, that's the first time I've been here either. I was like, So my senior pastor, who's also a worship leader, he's getting ready to go there. He said, what do you know about that place? I said, well, there's something I want you to look into. I said, let me know if there's a Sunday school teacher that really gives you the creeps. She was gone. Only after they found out she was doing some other stuff that Sunday school teachers really shouldn't be doing relationship-wise, and let's just leave it there. So you see what you got? And I'm telling you, discernment right there. You need it now, because all it takes is one of those to creep in. And you got people off to the left, off to the right. See what I'm saying? So let me give you a picture from Monday night. I'm telling you, that was a day. I was so tired, I went to bed at 7:30. I never do that. Didn't get to sleep much. Kept having the same dream. And it was this wave coming at. And I was standing there on this rock wall built, and this huge 40-foot wave comes up. And the Lord said, get ready. I said, what, to run? He goes, no, stand. Okay. And it goes over me, goes through me, and it goes around me. And I didn't look behind me. I was like, wow, I didn't even take my breath away. That was kind of interesting. He said, okay, you didn't get it. The next night, same thing. Here we go. Standing on that wall. Here comes the wave. Goes over the top. I looked down and the rock wall was gone. Okay. Did you see that? I said, yeah. He goes, what? Do you know what that means? I said, nope. Yep, still didn't get it. Boy, are you dull. So, honest God, that's what he said. Wait tonight. Next night. Here it comes again. Big green wave coming over. And I look, and Jeff's over here, Dow's over there, and I see all of you standing there. No rock wall. No rock wall. And a lot of other people lined up. More that's in here now, I can tell you. Can't recognize them all. There's all the way down there. This wave hits. Goes through everybody. I'm like, that's cool. We're all standing here. Did you get it? I think I got it. He goes, what'd you see? He said, well, we didn't move. We stood. He goes, aha, you got it. Now, the next time you have it, turn around and don't think about it. Before you turn around, don't think about it. Specific instructions. Next night, here it comes again. All that line of people. Wave comes over. We all ran into the wave before it ever hit. We ran in and ran into the wave. It went over, so we still stood about up to our hips in it. It went over, it went by, and I turned around. And on this beach was the most bunch of trash and garbage you've ever seen piled up in your life. I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Boy, I got to tell you, all this time, you don't recognize people's junk? All the junk that gets washed off when a wave hits that I send?" Okay, so here it is. If you're willing to run into that wave, this first one that's coming, there's a second one and a third one. The second one will sweep a few people into the kingdom. A third one will sweep a lot of people into the kingdom. And it's going to blow a lot of crud off of them. But the first thing that has to happen, you need to check your fixed point of reference. You need to commit yourself to this thing right here. I mean it. I'm serious. This is a time to start memorizing. This thing could be taken away from you tomorrow. If you don't think so, okay. Whatever. Go ahead. Every bit of it can be wiped away. It can be taken off Google. It can be taken offline. It can be taken out of every institution and burned. And don't think they wouldn't have fun doing it. You need to commit yourself to this thing. That's what he told me. Stick your nose in it and keep it there. Now for the unity part. So, in amongst all this transition, I know there's been all this and that and everything else, but there's coming a point when you're just going to let your crud, I won't do that because it's going to start something, come off. Everybody's got something. Everybody's got an agenda. Everybody's got something. I have stuff, okay? So when that wave comes, you just let it go. And that's what the entire body of Christ needs to do, is have a good cleaning out. And I mean the kind that just poured out in front of him. If you need to do it in your private first, trust me, it works pretty good. I had 2 days worth of it. I thought I was finished. And 2 more days, and 2 more days, and just kind of kept going. And the more I got rid of, I found things that stopped, like procrastination. I'm like, where was that coming from? He goes, oh, it was in there. He never let me redeem that. You're going to find things that you just kind of assumed were normal. And he really wants them out of there. So he's going to expand and get rid of those walls and take over if you'll let him. Get this. So a man think? He is. Solomon. Alan. He actually lived down where you did. He lives down near where you did. Now, so you get a guy who calls you with the Proverbs and says something like that. Remember that one? Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So the fixed point brings unity. Doesn't sound like it. It's actually going to cause division first. Sorry, it already has. And it always will. It always will. But for the ones that will come into unity, and this guy has the calling for that after finishing here. But that doesn't make him not here. Because this place has a calling for unity. But I'm telling you what, When people get hungry for this, they'll go where they're safe. They'll go where it's taught. And they'll go where the worship is hot. And I got to tell you, I said, they called me. What do you want us to do about worship? I said, I'm not saying a word. Because I knew she'd hit a home run every time. And I was like, first one, I thought, wow, that's pretty profound. The second one, that's a home run. Third one, oh, that's out of the park. And the next one just went clear across town. So it's like one more, and I'd probably had to fall down back there. It was getting pretty thick. But that's the depth that God will take you to ground you. Another one happened today. A guy I don't even know called me from New York. Yeah, I need to talk to you. I'm like, me? Why? And just poured himself out. I met him kind of a strange way. I'll go into that some other time, but he was a first responder at 9/11. He's a survivor. He wants to come to Wyoming and visit me. He said, I need to talk to you. I'm having an awful time today. I'm having flashbacks. I'm having this. I'm having that. And you shared something on a page. He said, I just need help. You think I hung up? 27 minutes. Got me a Lake Stark out of the house. See, that started this whole thing. Obedience. Don't plan on it bringing you in anywhere on time if you're working with God, because he's like, this is low-hanging fruit, and I want it picked now. Today, not tomorrow. Don't hang up and say, listen, I got this ministry thing going on here. No, you got a ministry appointment right now. Sovereignly set up 3 months ago, and you're going to do it now. Because this guy is in a crisis. I said, do you trust me? He goes, absolutely. I said, you don't know me. I trust you. How do you do that? He said, I just do. I feel something. There's something in the spirit. I said, uh-oh. You're one of those. He goes, now don't laugh at me. I said, I'm not. I guess I might as well tell you, I'm one of those too. He goes, well, no wonder I wanted to call you. And he goes into the whole thing about how he survived and his brother didn't. And his family had to come down and after 9/11 while they were still cleaning it up, but he was still in the bucket brigade and all that stuff that was going on. And they swept up some dust so they could bury him. And he said, today it was too much. I can't go down there. I've been asked to go down there where his name's on the police wall. I can't do it. I can't do it. Would you come out and go with me? What do you think I'm going to say? What do you think I said? Yeah, I'll do it, Ron. I'll do it. Can Ed come too? I said, yes, both of you could. And I want you both to come to Wyoming. Ed was one too. Ed worked the pile, retrieving bodies. He's a forensics scientist. Those guys have seen more than anybody should see. And they're reaching out to me. Why? We just need to come to the mountains. I said, I think you do too. I said, I got just the spot. I'm going to take 2 lawn chairs, cooler with your favorite soda, and a book, and you're going to sit up there, and I'm going to drop you off, and I'm going to go somewhere else. Oh, I like the sound of that. They need it, but there's something else they need. And he said, I just want to spend some time with you. So what do you do with that? How do you unpack that? What do you do? How does that happen? So I'm going to ask you something right now. If God asked you to do something totally off the wall like that, and don't go as radical as I just did, but, well, maybe not. So what if he did say, I'm going to send somebody to you from somewhere else? Would you? What if he sent somebody from Israel? What if? What if? If you're willing, you'll do ministry. You'll be ministry. It's not doing it, it's being it. It's the reality of Jesus Christ. It had worked to kill devil hills, separating body pieces from rubbish, from junk, picking up fingers, fingernails, pieces of skin, chunks of bone, cataloging it, which truck it came in on, fighting off seabirds from picking up the pieces and flying away with it. That is the same group that did it in Israel. And that's why the trauma today. That's the trauma that triggered the trauma. The reason he called, said, I need help. I need you. What he's really calling out is for the God inside to help. He just doesn't have somebody he can trust that's not going to blast it all over the place. I said, Ron, I'm Swiss cheese. It goes one ear, you're out the other. So I'm going to ask you right now, if you're ready to get on that wave, on that wall that's not going to be there very long, and you're going to run to that, I say go for it. If you're not ready, it's okay. But remember, this first, let him wash you with the water of the word. That is the first scripture I had to memorize after I got saved. My Father and the Lord said, you see that one right there? I want that recited back to me next week. What do you think he did next Sunday? Hey, have you got that memorized? Yep. The next one was renewing the mind. Because those are two of the basic things that need to happen. First things. You got stinking thinking. You ever heard that one? Mm-hmm. We all do. Traditions, habits, ungodly beliefs. Well, I'd go a mile and a half on those over the last couple of weeks. That's where I've been. Hey, I dare you to look that up and see if it's in there. It's not. I knew that already. But think like this. I was trying to defend it like it was. Didn't go so good. I lost. And funny enough, that last song, it was the one that tipped the scales at home. That came on, and I'm in there working away. I was like, oh, no. And I mean, I had to stop, finish that, put myself on unscheduled break, and walk outside and let a few things fly. I mean, I had to actually just and came back in. Got that out? Oh yeah, I feel better now. So I was dug in pretty good. I didn't know I used a postal digger, took it past my kneecap. It'll stumble you. That's what those things will do to you. It's really just, you can't walk right. Boy, it's quiet, isn't it? First director I worked for at the hospital. Come think of it, he was a chief. He was a Christian. He said, Jeff, let silence do the heavy lifting. Amazing. It works. See, I can look around here and I can see everybody in here, most everybody in here. Has got more potential than I think they have. You know why? It's who's living inside of you. And that anything to do with you. It's who's in you. You're a winner. You're not a loser. You're a winner. Been telling yourself you're a loser? Sorry. Too many people like that in here. Want one? Get in. Scared to death. What am I going to do? Well, ended up reducing an army down to 30 guys. How? Seeing how they drank water? That's pretty weird. That's pretty weird. And gets them to kill themselves. They didn't have to raise a sword. They just themselves. Now, isn't that something to think about? What could just happen? You think that could happen again? You think? Let's throw Jonah out for a little bit. There's a guy that got in trouble. He didn't want to go either. He got dumped in the ocean because these unsaved people figured out, unconnected people, I should say, figured out he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, so they chucked him in a drink. That's pretty extreme, don't you think? Couldn't they have just waited till they got where they were going? I mean, that storm wasn't going to last that long, surely. But when it almost tipped the boat over, I think that's when they got to either get rid of him or we're all going, so I just as soon get rid of this guy. Yep, that's what they did. And a great big fish that was prepared, which supposedly was a whale, but actually was handcrafted by the Almighty just so he could stink and look like green seaweed when he got coughed up. Yeah. Imagine that guy all bleached out when he walked out. That'd be a sight, wouldn't it? Anyway, so you got that. I don't want to go save those people. I don't want to do it. And then he goes in there and God turns that whole city around with one guy. I'm going to ask you, if God told you, I want you to do this, and something happened, let's say it was in a grocery store, and all of a sudden there were aisles of people coming to you, wanting to know, why are you different? Why aren't you panicking? Why aren't you hoarding everything up? How come you're only buying peanut butter? Everybody else is cleaning off the what would you say? These are all things to think about. What would you say? I'm trying to tell you, get ready. It's coming. I wish I could tell you what it was. I just don't know. I have said all I need to say. So, there you have it. Get that fixed point of reference. Get a nice big nail and nail that thing in deep. Right here. Right here. Right here. And let him hit that and change that from a rock that we were standing on to flesh. Something soft and pliant. Instead of hard and dug in. Don't do that. You don't want to go through that thing. I already did. I didn't like it. People say, boy, you seem depressed. I wouldn't go that far, but I'm kind of like, darn, why me? Why did I get kicked? If he loves you, he will do it. He loves his bride, and he will do anything to bring her back. And I want you to think about this really strong before you say anything. Well, yeah, I want to do that. Because I was out in the hallway. Well, that's right before that last song started. Oh, God. And he goes, I'm doing that tonight. I said, what are you doing? That thing I always do. You probably didn't know this, but they write everything down, every decision you make. Did you know that? It's recorded. There are scribes that write this down. They are here. If you decide, it's that serious. That's what he said. So I'm here if anybody needs me. You may not need me. You know, want to be around me now after that one. But I have to be honest. I can't come in here and throw out sugar and spice and everything nice. That's not me. You can't be prophetic and minister with alongside an apostle and a pastor and get away with it. They'd nail me. He's got discernment. She's got discernment. He's got discernment. I'd get nailed. And I'm scared to death of the Lord, so that's even worse. He has lightning in his fist, and I really don't want to find out. But the light is going to separate the darkness. And the light's about to get a lot brighter. And the dark is getting a lot darker. And that's why the light is getting brighter. And somebody is still singing the same old song. Oh, if you'll worship me, you can have everything. Really? Wait a minute. I already know who has everything. And there's no tab to pay at the end with my soul. I had a chance at that. When I was 16, 17, I had a chance at it. No thanks. I wasn't even saved yet. Problem was, he guarded me. Destroyed every friendship I ever had with anybody that was going to amount to anything like that. I mean, just took them out. I'm like, where'd they all go? I'm here blind. Well, sorry. Not your path to follow. So here I am. And I'm really thrilled to be here. So I'm going to ask somebody right now. There's somebody dealing with post-traumatic stress. I just got to go there. In this room. You don't even know it's post-traumatic stress. And it causes you to react every time. Something triggers it.